Okay, so we want to look at confidence intervals, and the first thing we need to do is understand what a confidence interval is. So if I was to have a set of data and I was to go and find the median for that set, then I'm going to get a particular number. If I then go and take another sample and get the median for that set of data, the median I'll get will be similar, but it's not going to be exactly the same. So every time we take another sample, we're going to get a slightly different median. Similar position, but not exactly the same. And a confidence interval is giving us a range of values that median is likely to be within. And it takes into account what happens when we take more than one sample. So we can be pretty sure that the true population median is somewhere between our confidence interval limits. So let's have a look and actually calculate a confidence interval. So I'm doing it for the non-smoking mothers and looking at the birth weights of their babies. So first of all, we get this formula, and you will be given this formula. You need to know how to use it, but you don't need to remember it. So it says confidence interval is the median plus or minus, and we'll come back to what that means, 1.5 times the interquartile range over the square root of n. So the interquartile range, remember, is upper quartile take away lower quartile, and n is our sample size. So when we took a random sample, how many are in the non-smoking group? It's only for the non-smoking group, not combined with the smokers, okay? So I go to my summary statistics and I look and find those values. So I find the median is 3,100 grams. My upper quartile was 3,770. My lower quartile 2,442. And I took a sample size of 30 from that non-smoking group. So I just do a bit of simplifying, that 1.5 times the stuff, and that gives me 3,100 grams plus or minus 363.688. Now this is where that plus and minus needs to be split out. So it's put plus and minus there because as mathematicians we're a bit lazy sometimes, and so rather than writing it out with one calculation with a minus and then another calculation with a plus, we write the plus and minus together. But now we're at the end, we need to split them out into those two calculations so we can get two endpoints. So we take our median minus that and median plus that, and that gives us two numbers there. So 2,775.8 grams and 3,503.2 grams. Now let's have a look at what this actually means in terms of our box and whisker and confidence interval graphs, okay? So here's our box and whisker, and we put our median in the middle. So our median is 3,100 grams. Now we've just gone and found a confidence interval, and so that's that solid red line that I've just drawn on that plot. Now the endpoints of that plot are the values I've just found. So the bottom value is our 2,775.8, and the top value is at 3,503.2 grams. And when you look at the graph from NZ Grapher, you'll see exactly the same. There's your top one there are your non-smokers, and the box and whisker graph contains that solid blue line, which is your confidence interval, and we've got the limits on there of 2,775.8 and 3,503.2, which are exactly the same values that we just found. So you'll also need to do that same calculation for your smoking mothers, and you'll get the same values that you see on that graph there, but you just need to show the working of how you got there. So that's the actual calculation. Now we need to interpret that. So we're talking about sample data. So I'm going to start by saying from my sample. And we are estimating. We don't know for sure what the median birth weight of babies is, but we've got a good guess. So we can say I estimate that the median birth weight of babies that are born to mums who don't smoke, it's likely to be around the median of 3,100 grams. Okay, so that's just our median. But then we go on and we talk about the range of values that it could be. So we could say I can't be certain because in stats you're never certain. We don't have the population, so we don't know for sure. But from our sample, we know it's likely that the median of that population is going to be somewhere between 2,775.8 grams and 3,503.2 grams. So those are our two confidence limits that we found on the graph and we found from our calculation. And we would do that same interpretation and calculation also for the mothers who do smoke and their baby weights. And that's how we do confidence intervals.